Hello children. Today again we are meeting with the topic reported speech part 2. Now let's revise first what we studied in video 1. Now introduction. There are two ways of reporting what somebody says. Direct speech, indirect speech or reported speech. A speaker's word can be reported in two ways. Direct speech, exact words of speaker. Example, the teacher said to Rajesh, "You have a bright future." Indirect speech, what the speaker has said without using the exact words. The teacher told Rajesh that he had a bright future. Next, we may often be required to report what we have heard elsewhere. There are two ways of reporting what another person has said. We can quote or reproduce the actual words of the speaker. Example, Kamali said, "I'm going to school now." Mona said, "We shall have done our work." The reproduction of exact words of the speaker is called direct speech, whereas we may also give an account of what another person has said. In other words, when the meaning of a speech is conveyed in a reporter's words, it's called indirect speech. When we use direct speech in our writing, the exact words spoken must be put inside speech marks, that is inverted commas. The first spoken word must have a capital letter. When a new speaker begins, we must start a new line. Now, in direct speech, we use the speaker's own words. In text, we put speech marks around the words spoken. Speech marks are also called inverted commas. Next, direct speech, saying exactly what someone has said, is called direct speech, sometimes called quoted speech. Now here what a person says appears within quotation mark and should be word for word. For example, "I am going to the cinema," he said. Now let's look at few examples. He said, "I am playing." She said, "I shall paint." He said, "I have finished this exercise today." The inspector said, "I am glad to be with you now." Now, direct speech. "I have caught 3 fish. The train will leave in 10 minutes. I know this type of angle. I love ice cream. I am a clever girl." Now let's come to indirect speech. Indirect speech or reported speech reports what a speaker said without using the exact words. When we report what another person has said, we usually do not use the speaker's exact words. That is direct speech. But reported, that is indirect speech. Therefore, you need to learn how to transform direct speech into reported speech. Now, indirect speech. In reporting speech, the tense usually changes. That we discussed in the previous video also. This is because when we use reported speech, we are usually talking about a time in the past. Then, in direct speech, we report what was said. And we sometimes need to change pronouns as well. And we don't use speech marks, that is inverted commas. Let's look at an example. He said, "I am playing." Direct speech. He said that he was playing. Indirect speech. She said, "I shall paint." She said that she would paint. Indirect speech. He said, "I have finished the exercise today." He said that he had finished that exercise that day. The inspector said, "I am glad to be with you." The inspector said that he was glad to be with me then. Now, he said he had caught 3 fish. He shouted that the train would leave in 10 minutes. He said she was a clever girl. He said he loved ice cream. She said that she knew that type of angle. If you remember, we discussed the same sentences in direct speech in the previous slide. Now, what changes did you notice? Omission of comma, use of that, change of pronoun, change of tense, change of adverb, place or time. Next, direct to indirect speech. I am feeling ill. Paul said that he was feeling ill. Now, if you see, direct speech, Paul said, I am feeling ill. Indirect, Paul said that he was feeling ill. We added that. Then the change of pronoun, I, he, am, was. So, tense, pronoun and that. Okay, what are the changes? No speech marks are there in the direct speech. We added that. It is optional. Pronoun changes I to he and tense changed am to was. Now, children, let's come to know kinds of sentence. Just a revision. Kinds of sentences: interrogative sentence, assertive sentence, imperative sentence and exclamatory sentence. Now, today, we will learn how to change assertive sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Simple. What is an assertive sentence? A simple statement can be called an assertive sentence. It is also known as declarative statement or affirmative sentence. And assertive sentences denote statements, declarations and facts. For example, the earth is round. Fahmida is not our teacher. Now, clue. These sentences ends with full stop. Now let's learn how to change statements, that is affirmative or assertive sentences of direct speech into indirect. Now there are 3 rules while changing from direct to indirect of statements like sentences. Firstly, change of tense. Now if the reporting verb in the direct speech statement is in present tense or future tense, then it remains same in indirect speech too. That is, no change in tense. Examples: my friend says he is very handsome. My friend says that he is very handsome. My granny will say you need to eat well. My granny will say that you need to eat well. Now, next, in reporting verb, if the reporting verb is in the past tense in the direct speech statement, then the verbs within the inverted commas will change in the direct speech statements. Like am, is, was, are, were, do, does, did, have, has, had, will, would, can, could. Let's look at an example. Now, direct speech and reported speech. Simple present will change into simple past. Like Meera said, I go to school. Meera said that she went to school. Now, simple past, past perfect. They said we went at work. They said that they had gone at work. Now, next, continuous present, continuous past. Meera said, I am going to school. Meera said that she was going to school. Perfect present, perfect past. They said, we have finished the work. They said that they had finished the work. He said, now past perfect to past perfect. He said, I hadn't gone there. He said he hadn't gone there. Future will. Conditional would. Kia said, I will come on Monday. Kia said that she would come on Monday. If you remember, children, these things we have discussed in the previous video also. Now, modals change. Can will change into could. Direct speech can, indirect speech could. Example, she said, I can go to the party tonight. She said she could go to the party that night. May to might. The kids said, we may go to school. The kids said that they might go to school. Now, change of pronouns. That is the rule number 2. Now, personal pronouns change according to son, S-O-N formula. Son formula, if you remember, we discussed in the previous video. First person subject, second person object, and third person no change. If the subject of the quoted words is in the first person, then it will change according to the subject of the reported verb. Example, he said to her, I like coffee. He told her that he liked coffee. Now, personal pronouns change according to if the subject of the quoted words is in the second person, then it will change according to the object of the reporting verb. Example, he said to her, you look happy. He told her that she looked happy. Next, if the subject of the quoted words is in the third person, then there will be no change. If it is in the third person, then we will follow N. That means no change. There will be no change. He said to him, she has already left. He told him that she had already left. Now let's see how it changes. Subject of first person, I, to he, she, me, him, her, my, his, her, we, they, us, them, are, there. Now example, he said, I went to consult my parents. He said that he went to consult his parents. Now I has changed to he. Now Mona said, I went to consult my parents. Mona said that she went to consult her parents. Boys said, we went to consult our parents. Boys said that they went to consult their parents. Now we to they. Now you can notice I to he, I to she, and we to they. So how it changes? You singular he, she, your singular his, her, you singular his, her, you plural they, your plural their, you plural them. Now let's see object of second person, how it changes. Anil said to Meena, your parents are waiting for you. Anil told to Meena that her parents were waiting for her. Now your changed into her, you changed into her. Anil said to Yogi, your parents are waiting for you. Anil said to Yogi that his parents were waiting for him. Your to his and you to him. Anil said to them, your parents are waiting for you. Anil told them that their, your to their, parents were waiting for them, you to them. Now let's see third person. That means there will be no change. Remember the formula of son, S-O-N, son. Subject, object and no change. I said to him, he should be trusted. I told him that he should be trusted. She said, she is looking for a job. She said that she was looking for a job. Now let's have a look of change in adverbs of place and time. That is rule number 3. Now today, to that day, these, those, now, then, here, there, tomorrow, the following day, or next day, yesterday, the previous day, the day before, last year, the year before, tonight, that night, this, that, does, so. Now change of adverbs. Let's look at an examples. He said, I shall discuss this matter next week. He said that he would discuss that matter the following week. She said, we shifted to this house 2 weeks ago. She said that they shifted to that house 2 weeks before. Now children, a few tips. While converting an assertive sentence into indirect speech, the following points should be kept in mind. First one, the reporting verb set changes into told, replied, informed, remarked, declared, confessed or answered as required according to the sentence. Let's look at an example. Direct speech, Naina said, Tarun is a good host. Indirect speech of the same sentence, Nana remarked that Tarun is a good host. Now second one, if the reporting verb is not followed by an object, it is not changed. Let's look at an example. Direct speech, Gagan said the results are out. Indirect speech, Gagan said that the results were out. And the third one and the most important one, inverted commas are removed and the conjunction that is used to connect the reported speech and the principal clause. Okay, children, now let's come to interrogative sentences. Who, where, what. Now, in a direct yes-no question, a question is changed into a statement. Reporting verb is changed into ask, inquire, and connective. Now, if whether is used, remaining changes will be like statements. For example, she said to him, "Are you writing a poem?" She asked him if he was writing a poem. I said to her, "Do you know the person?" I inquired her whether she knew that person. Now, in case of question words like who, how, where, what, whose, which, why, whom, etc., same words are used as a connective in the reported speech. Now, examples. Where do you live? She asked Meena. She asked Meena where she lived. He said to UV, "How do you write poems?" He asked UV how he wrote poems. Now, while changing an interrogative sentence into indirect speech, the following points have to be kept in mind. The first one, we change the reporting verbs said or told into asked or inquired or demanded. Note that inquired or demanded. Not that inquire and demand are followed by the preposition of. If the question is introduced by a WH question word, who, whom, what, which, when, where, why, how, etc., we do not use any conjunction. The indirect speech will begin with one of these words. If the is a yes-no answer type question, that is, if it begins with a finite verb or auxiliary, is, are, was, were, do, has, have, had, can, may, will, shall, etc., then we use if or whether as a conjunctions. Let's take an example. The boy said, "Can I wear this muffler, father?" The boy asked his father whether he could wear that muffler. The director asked Arpita, "Can you complete this project by Friday?" The director asked Arpita if she could complete that project by Friday. Next, the interrogative form is changed into assertive form. The auxiliary verb placed before the subject is shifted to a place after the subject and the mark of interrogation is replaced by a full stop. That is, question mark is replaced by a full stop. We remove the quotation mark, that is inverted commas, and the conjunction that is not used. That we don't use. Now children, before doing the exercises, just try these practical use, hints of practical use, which will be helpful for you to rewrite the sentences in indirect form. First one, underline and mark all the first person and second person pronouns in the direct speech. Then underline all the verbs used in the direct speech if the reporting verb is in the past tense. Next, underline all the adjectives and adverbs indicating nearness if the reporting verb is in the past tense. And now finally, rewrite the sentence in the direct form, which will, if you follow these 3 tips, it will make your work easier to convert the sentence from direct speech to an indirect speech. That was all for this video, children. Thank you and have a great day ahead.